people are going to be looking for companies and contracting companies that are moving forward in those areas of technology. If they're not, they're going to be looking upon you as a dying contractor, as somebody that, maybe not as a dying contractor, but that you're not as qualified as the other contractor who's technology savvy, who's adapting with the time. Until right now, this very moment, contractors have always been on their own, not as tradespeople, but being alone and knowing how to take their business to the next level. They call us working class, they call us blue collar. They say that we don't have the smarts to become the business owner that we're meant to be. That is such bullshit. You have the ability. You're more than any of that. The question really is, where do you get the insights that you need specific to contracting to systemize your business so you can get your profits to pay for your freedom? I'm Andrew Houston. I'm going to show you how to make more profits, how to get more control, how to get more freedom in the simplest, quickest way possible without any of that bullshit. Welcome to the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. Listen up, level up, and if you learn something, like the video, subscribe to the channel, change your business, change your life. Dominate or die? I guess that's the question in today's podcast on the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. We're going to get into just seeing which one you have actually chosen or which one are you going to choose moving forward. Welcome, everybody. It's Andrew Houston here from Prof for Contractors. And again, I'm bringing you another No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. This might be something that I might get some... might get some resistance on, might get some, some lip on, some comments that maybe I'm not, being considerate enough, but I'm sorry, man, it's the No Bullshit Podcast, so I'm not holding back any punches. This podcast is for you if you really want to leverage this, we've got this crazy ass challenge with this epidemic that's going on. And in my personal opinion, it's the reality. I think this is just, again, my opinion, man. I'm not saying this is the way it is, but part of me believes that this is just a law of nature. Okay. It's about, and the law of nature is being applied here that, just like out in the wild, the strong will not just survive, they're going to thrive. And the ones that are weak are going to die. And it's sad to say that, but again, let's screw the bullshit behind it, okay? Whenever we're given, whether it's this epidemic or not, okay, whether it's a turn in the situation in your local area, whether it's maybe something political, a new party comes in, or there's changes made in in the area that you're in. I think for the most part, okay, there are some cases where we've been dealt a really bad hand, okay? I'm not talking about somebody getting super sick and we have no control over that and, we're on the ropes of dying and, I'm saying to you, hey, you're on the ropes of dying, so let's crank up your business. No, man, I'm not saying that, okay? But even in the case of being given an illness, we get a choice in how we're going to respond, okay? My personal opinion here regarding this COVID situation is that it's a wake-up call. Hopefully it's a wake-up call for you guys. And I want to talk about today on the podcast about how this is such an amazing opportunity to dominate. And you might be thinking like, what the fuck, Andrew? Like, what are you talking about? Nobody's dominating in this space. If you're a contractor in these troublesome times. Yeah, guess what? Bullshit. Our champion CEO clients are kicking and they're taking prisoners, man. They are dominating their market, okay? They're not dying, they're dominating their market. I'm going to tell you why, okay? Back to the whole idea of, my belief that this is like the law of nature again, that the strong survive and thrive and the weak will shrivel up and die, okay? Or worst case is, instead of dying, business going away, that the business continues and it's just scraping, dragging, crawling for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, if that is what you've been dealing with and feeling for the last, since you started your contracting business or shortly after, we've got to change that, man. And this is really an ideal time to change it, okay? Prof for Contractors, I know it's not a contracting business, it's a coaching business, but there's so many coaching businesses that are dying out there. And there's so many contracting businesses that are dying out there. But isn't it funny that, the client, the people that are part of the champion CEO community, the family of Prof for Contractors, those champion CEOs out there, they're kicking ass, man. They are growing. They are making massive change. Some of them are having massive change with minor tweaks and adjustments. Okay, because there's such a big opportunity out there. On the coaching front, there's so many coaching companies that are failing out there. I mean, in the group that we're in, I hear dozens and dozens. I hear hundreds of them, as a matter of fact, that are really struggling, and tons of them that are actually failing. And the reason, my belief, one of the main reasons, is how they have looked at the challenges that they've had in the past, the challenges that they have right now, and the challenges that they're going to have in the future. Okay? How we respond. I love Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks, one of the principles, where the hell is, where did I put that book? Anyways, it's like yellow. My brother gave it to me, man, back when I was I think I was 19 or maybe even younger. I have to go look at the date. And that's where a seed was planted in my head that I really wanted to help people. In some form or fashion, I wanted to help people. That's why I love training apprentices. I loved helping people. I ended up, teaching at a college. I ended up, doing coaching on the bench for my kids' hockey and soccer. And anyways, long story short, guys, is I really believe that this is an opportunity to dominate. So let's get into some of these areas that I want you to really think about, okay? Let's think about this as an opportunity, right? Let's take a look at the market, okay, in your marketplace. I mean, you're going to have, and let's get very specific here, there's going to be contractors out there that are going to, if they were struggling, they're not going to make it, okay? Because they're not adapting quick enough. And what do I mean by that? Okay? They're not adapting enough for their team. And what's going to happen is they're going to lose their A players. So let's just picture there's two sides of this fence, right? We got one side of the fence, which is, if you were to draw a line on a piece of paper, right? You got one side of the fence, which is basically your team, okay? So we got the other side of the fence is your competition's team, right? Then there's this fence, right? Your team's either going to stay with you, okay, because you're providing enough work, because you're creating a safe work environment, because you're adapting. We'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. But that they feel they have confidence in you, okay? Or you're going to be on the other side of the fence, right, with the competition, where they're losing their A players because the A players don't feel that there's job security. The A players don't feel safe. The A players aren't properly being communicated to. The environment that they work in is a threat to them, to their kids, to their wife. But, on the other side of the fence, you got this other contracting company. And again, it's your call as to, maybe you're going to identify which side of the fence you're on right now, which is a good thing. Doesn't matter which side you're on, okay? What matters is what you decide to do to get on the right side and to stay on the right fucking side, okay? That's the key here. So this is one of the best opportunities because there's going to be so many A players, and there's tons of A players in your area that are working for your competition, and I'm not out to steal them. Okay, I'm not out to do something, teach you guys something malicious, and go in the parking lot and write down their license plate or something stupid like that. Okay, or track them or anything like that. No, I'm not talking about any of that. That's not needed. Okay, all you have to do is create a great environment, and you market it properly and ethically, and the A players will come to you. As a matter of fact, if you have that good of an environment, A players on your current team, if they're comfortable, if they're in that environment, they sit and they talk and they socialize. Even if it's just over the phone now or over the internet or over text or what have you, right? Keeping 6 feet apart or more. They talk about how things are going right now, right? I mean, people are more in tuned with talking about their pain and their struggles than they probably have for decades, because it's we've almost been given the okay, the green light to talk about this stuff because it's so common regarding this epidemic, right? We're all having to deal with it globally, okay? Well, that amplifies the communication and the verbiage, the talk that goes on in the space of your community right now, and that applies to the competition, the contractors in your area, right? And all those team members that are either going, oh my God, I'm so lucky to be working at this place. Oh my God, wow, we're doing so much better actually during this epidemic. And I'm very happy that my employer is taking care of us and looking out for us and really caring for us. So that's one area, okay, as far as an opportunity. Either you're going to be on one side of the fence or the other side. You're either going to be keeping A players, attracting A players, or you're going to be losing them, okay? And if you've got some of the champion CEOs that we're working with in your area, I'm going to tell you right now, they're definitely going to be attracting your A players in an ethical way, okay? So that's one opportunity, okay? And this all comes back to dominating your market or dying in your market. Number two is the clients, right? Like almost the exact same thing I just talked about applies to your clients, right? If your clients are not getting the support that they need, if they're not feeling that comfort level, if we're not going above and beyond, if we're not following or creating and putting in place and showing to the clients some form of policies and procedures to protect those clients, and your competition is doing that, they're going to go to your competitor, and that's it. Because people are you're throughout this list that I go through, people are either giving more security that they've chosen the right contracting company to either work for or to deal with, or they're feeling insecure. And when somebody feels insecure, especially when it has to do with their health and safety and putting food on the table, that all combined with all the stress that's out there, they're going to be looking, guys. They're going to be looking to jump ship, okay? And you're going to be left with the Class D clients, deadbeats, either that your competition is going to give to you because they're going to drop them and take your A clients, right? Or it's going to be the flip of that, okay? So what are you doing right now to make your clients go, man, I made the right choice? And let's go a little bit further with this, right? This is a great opportunity for you to diversify a little bit more. I mean, I hear so many people out there going, oh, you got to pick one market, you got to pick one of this and one of this and one of this, like one thing. Yeah, that's a little bit of bullshit, okay? I'm not saying you should be stretched super, it's a balance, okay? I'm not saying you should offer up 50 different services. That would be crazy, okay? Because you have to manage all that. I'm not saying to have just one service because then that puts too many eggs in one basket. But as an example, if you're doing, and again, there's a lot of different varieties, okay, but I'm just going to use this as an example in the contracting space. If you're doing medium to large size projects, diversifying instead of just having the medium and larger size projects, which, yes, you can make a lot of money on them, but they type a ton of your cash flow. There's a lot of risk. I would suggest that you diversify and have a pretty balanced portfolio that includes some form of service-based product and services. That could be maintenance contracts. That could be, doing smaller jobs like repair jobs, jobs where people have breakdowns, things of that nature, like actual service work, right? Why? Because service work is going to be needed. I mean, more than ever, especially if you're in the housing, if your target audience is the housing space. People are using their homes more than they ever have, right? They're turning their homes into offices, right? They need that functionality. They need that, that modification, that maybe that addition, what have you. And you want to make sure that you've got a balanced portfolio so that, you aren't just dealing with services that, or let me put it the other way, that you have part of your portfolio is dealing with services that are needed, okay? That in your area, the government's going to allow you to service those types of clients, okay? So service work is definitely a prime example of that, all right? So where am I going with this? Guys, you've got to dominate. You got to dominate in attracting top A players and keeping the A players you've got right now, okay? Or you're going to die with that. You've got to dominate when it comes to your clients. Either you're doing the right things or you're not to keep the ones you got. And what a great opportunity to so that when those Class A clients from your competition are looking, like, you're there to provide service to them. You're there to give them the right response time. You're there to make them feel safe, make their families feel safe. You're able to differentiate yourself in what you do and how your team engages. And again, if you guys want to give some more information in on how, some of the tactics and templates and tools that we use, that our champion CEOs use to leapfrog decades the days in these areas, just DM me, okay? And I'll help you guys out, or join the Contractor Tips group down below. So here's the other thing, right? It's a great opportunity for you guys to upgrade your ability to move forward with time. Now, what do I mean by that? So we talked about your team. We talked about your clients, okay? Let's talk about the ability to move forward with today's world, all right? It is the ideal time. There's never been a better time, and I swear to God, there's never, ever been a better time than for you to move forward with technology than today. It is the most received by your clients. It is the most received by your team. It is the most received by society. I'm not saying, I don't know if you guys have heard of Zoom, but we use Zoom. Tons of our clients are using Zoom to do quotes, to do walkthroughs, instead of actually having to go out there to manage their team, to have their team work, virtually from home. Again, this comes back to time and team. This comes back to time and clients, right? This comes back to profitability and flexibility, okay? You've got to move forward with how you communicate differently than what you did before, guys, okay? Because that's what the world is demanding, and it's so much more profitable and scalable. Guys, if you're able to do your quotes and do a walkthrough with a client virtually, think about how much bigger your geographic area can be. Think about how much fucking time, and we teach this abroad for contractors, how much time can you save, right? By not being on the road, your team being on the road versus, making progress with, landing grade A clients, without actually having to go out to the jobs. I mean, right? Like, as far as quoting them, as far as doing the walkthrough, I mean, all these things add up. And as far as, efficiency and communication, you've got these tools. So many of them cost like less than $10 a month to use. And it amplifies your ability to communicate with your team. It amplifies the ability for your team to be more self-sufficient. They can communicate better amongst themselves. But at the same token, okay, you've got to be able to adapt to that. You've got to create policies and procedures that support those things. And again, people are going to be looking for companies and contracting companies that are moving forward in those areas of technology. If they're not, they're going to be looking upon you as a dying contractor, as somebody that, maybe not as a dying contractor, but that you're not as qualified as the other contractor who's technology savvy, who's adapting with the times, who's creating a really good environment for every person that they touch, from the supplier, from the customer, from the team member, okay? So look, guys, you're either going to dominate, okay, and be forced to grow and to grow the environment that you've got and change it, or you're just going to be surviving, right? I would rather you thrive than survive, okay, honestly, or die in that case, okay? And it's primed. The time is primed right now to do this, okay? So dominate your market with your team, dominate your market with your clients, dominate your market in how you communicate, and dominate your market with the technology. And let's just kick ass this year. I know we're dominating our space because there's so many people. Guys, I know this is maybe not directly related, but it is somewhat related. Like, so many of the coaching companies that we know, in our space, outside of our space, they've been so driven by thinking that to provide value, this goes hand in hand, to provide value, they've got to drive in their car, or the client's got to drive in their car, but they got to meet physically, okay, with this person. And that if they don't do that, they're not going to get the value that they need. Unless, and I remember back in the day when I had clients that said, hey, Andrew, unless you drive out here, unless we come to your place, unless I meet you personally, I don't really want your services. When I thought about that, for me, it took me almost dying in my car. I mean, I didn't get in an accident, but man, it could have been really bad. And having, a newborn and my daughter at home, And the second time it happened in a snowstorm, it's snowing out here right now. I lost it. I lost it on myself. I was so pissed off at myself because, imagine I walk in and I'm a little bit late to the client's place, and I'd meet them every week type of thing, or every other week. And I walk in, and the first thing the guy says to me after I almost freaking get in a car accident is like, "Hey man, you're 5 minutes late." And I just snapped. When I had to get beyond my client's belief that I was attracting, you see, I was teaching them that was okay. Okay. And we teach ourselves what's okay, right? We limit our beliefs sometimes by other people's beliefs. And I was allowing that to happen until it came to a point where I was like, I don't give a shit if I lose all my clients, or I only have like 5 left out of the 20 or 30 back in those days, back 10 years ago. It's not worth it for me to die and not be around for my kids and my wife, just for the sake of people thinking that I need to be there in person. Now, was I a little bit, fearful of what was going to happen? Was I fearful that, hey, am I ever going to find clients that are willing to do this? But you know what? When I put it all together and I broke it down and I laid it out and I showed to them the value of what I was teaching, which I realized I wasn't really teaching them what the core principles, right? I wasn't being congruent with what I was teaching. I was trying to teach them time management was one of the areas. I'm sure you guys have heard some tips and insights from me on that. And here I am driving in a freaking snowstorm, or they're driving in a snowstorm when that's not even needed. And I've been using this technology for, oh my God, maybe 5-6 years. And because I was able to adapt, we've been dominating like crazy, because there's so many coaching companies that have gone under because they promote, hey, you got to be there physically. Right now, you can't be there physically. Now, what are they going to do, right? Well, they're going to go bankrupt. That's what's going to happen. So, guys, don't wait for it to get so bad that you're down this path of dying and your business is going to go away. Adapt, dominate. Don't do it alone. Raise your hand, get help, join our contractor tips group. I think it's almost 8,000 members in there now, of people that are wanting to grow their business. If you want to take it to the next level, DM me, maybe type in next level and become part of the Champion CEO group, where we actually give you guys the insights, the tools, give you what you need so you can leapfrog decades of the days. Like us, like this podcast. I think there's supposed to be a couple of other things I should be writing down that I want you guys to do, but like us, comment, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. So listen, choose the path of domination, dominating your market versus dying in your marketplace. And honest to God, for the most part, it really is a choice. And we'll see you guys on the flip side. Ciao.